Welcome to your Daily 5. This is for Wednesday, February 8th, 2023. I am today's host, Bruce Fraser, and we are going to talk about Wyckoff. And I have I think, a really great show for you today. And this is, let me get the ink color right on my highlighter. And this is going to be on the oil services group. And it's a very interesting group at this time. We are going to look at it through the lens, a Wyckoffian lens of reaccumulation, and look at reaccumulation schematics. Here on Friday, we are going to continue our discussion of Wyckoff methods, Wyckoff schematics and structures. Accumulation is going to be our topic for Friday, and you can see it at 1:30 on StockCharts TV or watch it on demand later. And here you can see Wyckoff power charting. We have a blog from 2015. I encourage you to read about these Wyckoff structures, so please check that out. Also, Wyckoff weekly Wyckoff market discussion, WMD. Roman Bogomazov and I talk about all the important markets in this wonderful weekly series that we do for Wyckoffians. If you are a dyed-in-the-wool Wyckoffian, you're going to want to be a member of the Wyckoff market discussions. Go to wyckofanalytics.com to learn more. Okay, now here also is something we're going to talk about on Friday, is the S&P 500 in late stage accumulation. And these are charts from a blog I wrote over the weekend. You can go to StockCharts articles Wyckoff and find that blog. It's the most recent one, and read my notes about the current structure, which looks like it could be accumulation, but there are issues. And so we'll dig in on that on Friday and talk more about it. Read the blog to really prepare yourself. Also, I did a point and figure chart that is right there on the right, and you can see that chart also in the blog. Now, this is the Wyckoff life cycle model, and here you can see we have accumulation, we have markup, we have distribution, and we have markdown. We had markdown in 2022 in a big bear market decline that occurred. And we are having the discussion now, is because we have been range bound since May, is this an accumulation structure? Something akin to what we see here. And are we getting ready to go into a new markup? Well, we're going to have this discussion in power charting. We also have this discussion in the WMD Wyckoff market discussion on Wednesday. And I want you to come join us, see what it's about. If you're new to Wyckoff, I think you're going to find it fascinating. If you are a Wyckoffian and are really committed to it, I think it's going to be a great discussion for us to have together. Okay, today, this is the Oil Services ETF OIH. And this is a weekly chart on the right. This is an uptrend. This is 2020. This is the important low, and an uptrend which took place in the oil services stock weekly basis. Here you can see that the trend has been higher highs, higher lows. So very important, but it has been somewhat slower performance, lesser performance than the oil producers. And here you can see this is the relative strength. Relative strength is up also. It's in a primary uptrend. Both are going up. Here I am contending that we have a reaccumulation here. We have a reaccumulation here. Reaccumulation, is this schematic shows, is just like accumulation. Well, it's very similar. There are differences. The key difference is that you go, you're in an uptrend, and then you pause that uptrend and have a trading range. And this is what we're going to look at today in these 5 stocks in the oil services sector, are trading ranges. But how does a trading range start? It starts with a buying climax, then we have an automatic reaction, and then a series of tests of the outer bounds of resistance and support, which is defined by the peak of the buying climax and the low of the automatic reaction. We see the volatility come out of the reaccumulation, which shows that stock has been absorbed by strong hands that are expecting another big move in the market. And at the conclusion of a reaccumulation is you get another uptrend. And these are the things that we most care about in Wyckoff. We're very interested in the accumulation and reaccumulation structures, but only in the regard that we're trying to time them to determine when we get a liftoff or a movement away from that structure into an important uptrend, and in distribution, redistribution, an important downtrend. Okay, let's keep going. We don't have a lot of time. Let me clean this up. Here is the OIH daily. We just looked at the weekly. Daily chart, here's our buying climax right here. Buying climax is right here. Automatic reaction, support, resistance. Something that happened here is that you had a breakdown, sharp breakdown below the support level, and it stalled here. Looks like a minor accumulation type structure, and then came back up into this structure and used support and resistance to continue to build its cause. This whole area could be part of a larger causal structure of reaccumulation for a much bigger move. But what we have done is we see here, this is a sign of strength because it took out these prior highs. Here's a last point of support, which is a last pullback in a reaccumulation, which is in this area here. This LPS is then turned into a new uptrend where it goes up and out and has a backup into another LPS, higher last point of support. And we call that a backup because it's dull, quiet, narrow, volatility is diminishing, and all it's doing is it's just resting after breaking out and preparing to go into another uptrend. So this is where we think we might be with oil service stocks right now, which makes them very interesting to us because this whole structure might be a completed reaccumulation structure. Here is a point and figure chart. These shaded areas correlate with the shaded areas I just showed you on the daily. And here is an accumulation structure that counts here. The count line is around 232. It's 324 right now, but 232, it counts up to 422 to 460. Here, this small reaccumulation structure here, which you saw in the daily chart, counts up to 448 to 464. This purple arrow shows that these two counts approximately equal each other. These are called stepping stone reaccumulation counts. So this count and this count are approximately equal, which often sets up the moment when you start to get a new uptrend. So this is very interesting, and we'll see whether this backup, let's just call this a backup here. Look how dull and quiet this is. Dull and quiet backup. This is often the pullback in the test, which shows that absorption is complete and preparing to go into a new uptrend. We will watch for that closely. We're very important to Wyckoffians is to be good risk managers. So we have places where we set stops below these structures and to protect capital. Okay, so now let's go into some stocks that we have that we can look at here today. Schlumberger, the all-important Schlumberger, is the largest of the oil services stocks, largest market cap stock. And as you can see here, here's our reaccumulation. This looks like it might be the buying climax. Here's an automatic reaction. Here's resistance. Here's support. And we have a breakdown of this area, just as we saw on the OIH. And this area, it could not break down from this area, but simply stalled here, making this potentially a very large reaccumulation from the perspective of point figure. All of this might be countable for a very important uptrend. But here we can see a jumping up and out. This is stronger than the OIH right here because it's already up and out of this pattern, and it pulls back to old resistance, new support, jumps up and out again, and does it again. We will see whether or not Schlumberger can get ahead of steam going here and continue an uptrend that really started back here in July. And note relative strength. Relative strength here, and this is the 200-day of the relative strength, is in a beautiful uptrend. We want relative strength and price to be above rising moving averages to confirm their leadership. Next stock, ChampionX, symbol CHX. Here is what we might consider the buying climax: automatic reaction, resistance, support. Look at how beautiful this is. Attempts to throw under the support area. It stalls here, cannot get ahead of steam, comes back in, has a secondary test here, and then starts to go into a more important uptrend. Look at this. We would call this a change of character, because note how strongly it's rallying. It shows that all of this was absorption. And so it went up sharply, pulled back to old resistance, stalled, and now it's attempting to go into a new uptrend. This is some kind of a backing up action. Beautiful. Okay. DNOW is the symbol, NOW Inc., now Inc. This is a very interesting chart. Here is a possible buying climax and automatic reaction. And here is an upward sloping reaccumulation. They happen. And these can be the most dynamic of all because they have such good bids underneath them at ever higher prices throughout. And so even though it's consolidating in here, it's consolidating at a higher, faster pace than the other stocks in the group. And so this is leadership within the group. And here we see something very important happens. This is a secondary test of the bottom of the trading range area. There's a rally up to resistance, and then it backs up. And this backup area here is a stalling area, and now it's starting to move up and out of this zone. Relative strength is super duper, really good, really strong. This is a leadership stock. And then we have Tidewater, and you can see here I have two stocks left. I got to go fast. Here is again another uptrending structure, buying climax, automatic reaction, range bound condition. And you can see, look at the really dynamic rally here, and then a pause, which is like a backup. And now it's into a new uptrend. It appears very good relative strength, super stock. And then finally, we see here a buying climax. This is NOV, and then an automatic reaction. So we draw resistance and we draw support. We see a couple of attempts to get below the support area, and these attempts fail to break down, rallies back up in, has a secondary test, and look at the dynamic nature of the rally off that secondary test. Change of character is a very important concept, shows really good demand. The stock has been under potential accumulation. Look at that hinge type structure, has a backing up action into the middle of the trading range, and now it's flirting with the top of it. These are both potentially backups. We will watch for an uptrend to move away from this area. And with that, I'll say thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.